Shut up and sit down.
Yes, might have gotten away with it, too. If it wasn't for these blasted kids and their dog.
Riding my bike, riding my bike.
You blasted kids! Why didn't you mind your own business?
Riding my bike.
Blasted meddling kids.
Everything's nice.
And it would have been mine if it hadn't been for those meddling kids.
On a red one, two.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Maddy Grand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Duren. Obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it.
We could ride together all day long.
And I would have made millions if it hadn't been for you meddling kids.
We could put our bikes down, but that
And I'd have done it too, if you kids hadn't come along.
everything's nice when I'm riding my bike, riding my bike, riding my bike. Everything's fine when I'm riding my bike.
What can compare with the thrill of a brand new bike? For bicycling is a healthy, active sport, enjoyed by almost everyone. Not only does it provide vigorous outdoor exercise, it's a nice, fast way of getting from one place to another.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von Duren, and I'm here with Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? I beat you to it. You guys can't steal my intro. You can't.
All right. To his left, Evan Price.
What are we drinking today? This is not from us, by the way. Or is it even really sparkling water? It advertises itself as sparkling water.
Spindrift. I think it qualifies as sparkling water.
I'm going to say it does not
Spindrift.
qualify as sparkling
I'm drinking
water.
a lemon Spindrift, and it is lovely. 3 calories.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Mr. Randy
Frost.
who kindly donated a case of Spindrift to us. That was really nice of him.
Randy, this is awesome because I actually meant to bring a drink, and I forgot it, and I was just so parched, ready for anything. Thank you.
I think this counts as a sparkling water sponsor.
Contains 3% juice. It counts.
I think that, I don't know, I think that bumps it off at the sparkling water pedestal.
Juice. Sparkling
It's
juice.
Sparkling juice. Yeah, sparkling juice. Agreed. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lance Hepler may or may not be calling back in. We had him on Skype. He is currently inbound back into the area in some canyon in LeGrand, Oregon.
LeGrand, Oregon.
Yes.
So Matt shut him down. We've got a couple of special guests with us today. Sitting to Evan's left, Mr. Nels Martin.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Oh, that's a good intro.
Nice.
I like that.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, interrupting Nels.
Here we go.
Here he goes.
I'm back.
And on Skype, Mr. Lance Hepler.
Hey, was that perfect timing or was it terrible timing?
Perfect timing. You're live.
You're live, buddy.
Did you already get through
Yeah,
LeGrand?
it figures. Here I am.
Mr. Lance Romance.
Lance
Yes,
Romance
yeah.
on location.
Here's the proper intro. Yeah, it's Lance Romance live in the adventure van somewhere in eastern Oregon, driving down the road, eating Twizzlers with my dog salivating next to me.
Lovely.
Twizzlers. Okay.
Hi, Piper. And sitting to Nels left, Maddy Wick.
Hey guys, thanks for having me today.
Thanks, Maddy.
That was the nicest intro by far.
Yeah.
She's the most polite of anybody here. Why are we not more polite on this podcast?
Very good question.
We're very mean to each other here.
We're going to have a special juniors edition today. We'll get into more of that in a few. But just real quick, just to kind of let everybody know a little bit more about these young juniors that are sitting at the table with us. Mr. Nels Martin is the reigning 2019 Junior Men's Road Racing State Champion.
Oh, yeah.
Got to hold on to that for another year because
That's the easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Defend your title.
that's a lot of work to do to enable yourself to hold on to it for one more year. Just shut the world down.
It's going to be 2 years state champion, 1 race. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And then Maddy Wick is a 2-time All-American triathlete, and she's competed at the national level. She's quite the local hero here in the triathlon scene. Maddy, welcome. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
2 times second place in the 50 free in state, too. Not many triathletes get to say that because most of us are pretty bad at swimming, which Maddy is not.
That's true. Yeah.
Maddy is quite the fish in the water.
Quite the fish, yeah, absolutely.
She's all around
Absolutely.
now. I feel like she's really coming
great all-rounder, definitely.
All-arounder,
Yeah.
triathlete. Nels, we're working on Nels. Switching
Nels
him
is
over.
starting to come around as an all-rounder.
Yeah, we're going to switch him over to triathlon.
He did his first run off the bike yesterday, too, which was impressive.
Please no.
God, no. All right, let's do a quick backpedal here. Lance, while we have you on the phone, we can still hear you. Why don't you backpedal? What have you been up to, man?
I have been gallivanting around the state of Idaho for the last week. It has been fantastic. I've been out here with my wife and my dog and my mother. And so I've just been riding mountain bikes or riding gravel bikes or riding some road bikes all week. It's been great. I've put in about 17 hours this week on the bike and about another 8 hiking. So I've just been literally screwing around outside all week. So it has been
awesome.
A whole lot of fun.
If I'm not mistaken, I saw you and Piper on a stand-up paddleboard too, correct?
Yes. Yesterday we were doing some paddle boarding, and she likes to get on the paddleboard with me, and she prays that I will go near some ducks. So,
Dad, over there. Dad, look.
she just points at the ducks the whole time. Go there. Go to the ducks, Dad.
I think Piper's enjoying retirement more than Lance is.
Yeah.
So the question is, though, did you fulfill her dreams? Did you take her to the ducks?
I got her close until she almost knocked me off, and then I had to immediately retreat. So
good stuff.
It was a quick retreat. Yeah.
So you're heading.
Fun.
Go ahead.
I'm headed home. Yes. The chances of me making it through this entire podcast are about 0. Matter of fact, I believe I'm going to lose my signal in about 3 minutes, so it's going to be a pretty short. You won't hear much from me, which I'm bummed to not be there with Natty and Nels because they're 2 of my favorite juniors here in the Northwest. They're pretty cool people, so I'm glad you guys have somebody cool to replace me while I'm not there. So that makes me happy.
Big upgrade.
Only cool replacements. Only cool replacements.
Awesome.
For those of you interested, yes, I did trim my mustache a little bit this week.
Okay.
Yes. I woke up one morning. It was just so unruly. I cut about 1.5 inches off.
Oh wow!
Oh, 1.5 inches.
That's a year's. That's a year's worth of work.
It was like a year's worth of growth. I cut 1 inch. I still have the whole bushy 70s fireman mustache, but I just
Lance, at your age, it may never come back. You never know.
It might never come back. It's true.
So, Lance, I hope you kept the clippings because Evan is looking like he needs some help.
I'm having some trouble with the length.
Yeah,
the length is becoming a serious issue. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
I flushed him down the toilet and immediately regretted it.
You should have pinned him up in the adventure van.
I know. I just was like, I was not thinking clearly at the time.
I think it was the right call. Good job.
Yeah. Thank you.
Solely.
My big biking achievement this week. There is a gravel trail in the Sun Valley, Idaho area called the Harriman Trail. It's 19 miles long, and there is a segment.
Oh, that is long.
That I was riding from north to south, and I was just riding it fairly fast one day, and I missed the KOM by 1 second.
Oh.
You missed a 19-mile a 19-mile segment by 1 second.
19-mile segment by 1 second, and I'm like, and I was going fairly hard.
That's a bike throw.
And I was like, oh man, I do not want to go back and do that again. But of course, I went back 2 days
and
later,
did it again.
and I took 5 minutes out of it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. It helps to know the route for sure. I think I saw that one.
It definitely helped.
Who is the guy that was second, like Russ or something like that? Gus.
Okay. Gus, that's what it was. It was Gus.
His really good friends call him Russ.
Poor Gus.
He's not going to be.
Gus is going back for vengeance.
Oh, yeah. He's going to come back after that for sure.
It was from like 7 years ago, so I don't even know if Gus, where he lives now in the country, but it was from a while ago. So.
Come and get him, Gus.
I think that's the best thing is like to travel someplace and like go after grab a whole bunch of KOMs.
Oh, the ones that have been around for like 10 years too.
I don't know. Yeah. You make the locals mad and then just leave. We'll be back in a couple years.
That's right.
Good stuff. When do you plan on being back into town? Is this going to be a straight shot?
Yeah, it'll be a straight shot. I'll be there this evening. I've got some appointments that I need to help my parents with who are going through some medical difficulties, and so I'm trying to be the good son and help out, and so that's what I'm buzzing back for. So
okay, cool. Look forward to having you back in town. Need my riding buddy back.
Yes, I'll be back shortly, and you can make me hurt again like you always do.
Awesome. Matt, backpedal for us.
Okay, I'm going to use my backpedal time to talk about our 100-day challenge.
Yeah.
Because I have questions.
Shoot.
Okay, So if you guys aren't familiar with this, Jake has issued, I don't know if it's all you're doing, but Jake has issued this 100-day challenge basically from last Wednesday until Thanksgiving Day. It's 100 days, and the goal is to ride every single day for at least an hour.
Correct.
There is no wattage minimum.
Nope.
Right?
I think I was already below that one day, so yes, there should not be.
As long as it's propelling the bike forward, yes.
And if you guys are just hearing this now and it's past that particular time frame, join anyway and get 90 days of riding in, or ride twice in one day. Just catch up to us.
It's like a grade
that.
out of 100. You
Sure.
can still get a solid B+.
Yeah, you can still get you can get an A.
Yeah.
So join us if you can. But that being said, I did a ride yesterday, and I think I averaged 45 watts.
That's stellar.
Nice.
For an hour. And
was that your threshold work?
Well, it's zone 4.
It's typical workout, yeah.
It's a little tougher.
Yeah, so that was my question, what's the minimum? If there is none, 10 watts or whatever, then I'm still in it. So
cadence of 1? I don't know. Minimal watts. I mean,
watts of 1. Yeah. As long as you propel the bike at some point.
Good. So I'm still in it. I'm still in the running.
Yes.
I rode with Ethan yesterday, and
done.
it was great. It was just we were going downhill, and I'm looking at my watts, and I'm not putting out anything big. So I was worried that I was not going to qualify.
At Ethan's size, that's 4 watts per kilo for that,
yeah,
right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
He's
small.
a low guy. Yeah.
He's a small guy.
He's
but
a very low guy.
Got my hour in, and other than that, I've been having fun with the new bike. Been riding a good little bit. Nothing crazy. Just trying to do. My goal for this is bare minimum. Do the hour each day. And don't push it. Don't overdo it. Don't do anything hard, which is really hard to do when you go ride with anyone else, right? Besides Ethan, then it's fine. But it's
hard. To smack to your son here.
Well, so I rode with Lynn. I don't know what Lynn's last name is.
Fisher.
Yeah, that's right, Lynn Fisher. And we were climbing, and he was just pulling away from me, and I was looking down at my watts, and I was like, I'm going 350, 400. I don't.
Wow.
I was like, these watts are okay. He was killing me. Lynn. I know, he was crushing me, and he's just like, I don't think I can ride with Jake and those guys. I'm like, you can ride with anybody. You're fine. He can climb.
Yeah.
So that was super fun. But then again, I'm thinking to myself, I got to keep the watts. I got to hold back as much as possible because every day I need to go out and ride, and it's not necessarily one good day. It's just trying to have consistency. So I'm excited about the challenge.
Your eventually going to start feeling stronger, though.
Yeah,
You're going to want to go harder. So
it'll come around for sure.
It's a great way for you to get your bike fitness back.
Yeah,
7
it
hours
is.
a week, guaranteed.
I like challenges like this.
Yep.
Because they're just kind of you versus you in scheduling, which is always a nightmare. But I hate to even mention it on the podcast because then you feel accountable to make sure you keep going. And so I'm 5 days into 100. So who knows if I'll make it past 5 days, but
this is what I use the podcast for, is to make sure that I'm not just blowing smoke. So.
Well, yeah.
I blow a lot of smoke too.
It's possible.
So are you worried about this thing?
The challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to miss a day.
Get through it.
Can I quote somebody?
Sure.
I'm going to quote my good friend Matt Legrand.
I heard
Boo effing who?
Boo effing who? Yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean,
if everybody listening to this right now has not seen Matt Legrand's newest Iron Man video, please go watch it.
Okay, so
and smash the thumbs up button.
Okay, so
and hit the bell. I don't know.
What do you do
after that?
The other half of my backpedal will be this video. So I posted a video, and it's this Iron Man video, kind of making fun of Iron Man. Very satirical. Very tongue-in-cheek, and it's their promotional video, you want to be an Iron Man in 2020? Well, boo effing who? You can't. And then it goes on and to be we're going to transfer your race to the Wuhan, quarter Ironman distance. Yeah. And kind of poking fun at a lot of Iron Man's policies because, we all like Iron Man here at this table. We just don't necessarily love the Iron Man Corporation, right? They're expensive races, and they don't treat their athletes that well, to be honest. And so, it's something that needs to be worked on because they represent our sport, and it's not great to represent our sport poorly. So we really need them to step up, and they're not doing it. So poking fun at them is great. But yesterday, their legal team sent a message and took to Facebook and had my video removed from Facebook.
I thought that was a joke.
No, this is serious. They actually had my video removed.
Cassie
from
told
Facebook.
me that, and I told her, there's no way that's a joke.
So this really did happen for sure. And what the problem with it is I was very careful making that video to not use any of their logos.
Yep.
And not use any of their footage. It's all 100% my video footage. So there shouldn't be like copyright infringement issues.
Correct.
So the other thing is they don't technically own the term Iron Man because, you know, Iron Man is a comic book character.
Yeah.
Tony Stark.
Thank you. Yeah.
Tony Stark owns it.
Yeah.
Right? So
did Tony Stark remove it from
Tony
Facebook?
Stark did not contact me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
well,
I
if Tony
think
Stark had removed it, that'd be different.
So yeah, so what they can do is they can issue like a DMC takedown notice to Facebook, and Facebook will just do it, and then they look into see if it's valid afterwards.
Wow, thank you, Facebook, protecting freedom of speech. All right, yeah.
So a couple of issues there. Like it's definitely satirical. It's definitely protected under like First Amendment issues.
Well, Mark Zuckerberg's a robot though, so that was your problem. Is satire does not register with robots.
But it's still up on YouTube, so you guys can check it out.
So where does it stand right now? Are you able to kind of go in and say, hey, this should be posted? You need to put it back up?
I sent because I was angry yesterday about it, and I like just did the proper channels to say like, hey, there's nothing wrong with this video. Like you need to point out exactly specifically where the copyright infringement issue is because there's not one up there.
Yeah.
So I sent off a appeal and it'll go nowhere. So
repost.
Yeah. No,
it's going straight to the Facebook email junk mail.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still live on YouTube, and YouTube has different policies for their takedown notices, and so we'll just see. It may get taken down from YouTube as well. So catch it fast.
Come on, YouTube.
It's getting a lot of traction.
YouTube.
Yeah, it had 10,000 views on
oh my gosh.
On Facebook and maybe 1,500 views on YouTube, something like that.
You're famous.
I'm famous, but there's another Matt LeGrand that's famous too. So
that's true, but you're slightly more famous.
Pick and choose which one you want to. Yep.
Music, satire. Music,
that's it
satire.
for my backpedal.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Evan.
We're going to make mine really quick.
Hold on. Straighten your crown up.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I need to straighten it up before it gets taken away here, so I'm really treasuring every single moment right now.
How long did you hold it last time?
Checking your email.
Week? I'm literally, Matt, I'm no lie checking my phone every 30 minutes.
Refresh
Just
the email.
Refresh
the
I
email.
know.
Did I lose the KOM yet?
So over the weekend, instead of staying with a very well-structured Iron Man build plan, I decided that's boring. So we're going to go ahead and try and get the Washington Large KOM back.
It's one that you've wanted for a while.
For a while, yeah, definitely.
Did Tonk have it?
Tonk had held it for a bit with a really quick time, and then Robert had gone out there not too long ago, and they had got it from Tonk by like 7 seconds, 10 seconds, something like that.
I think it was like 20 seconds, wasn't it?
No, it was not a lot. It was around 10 seconds, I want to say.
So it's a legit effort. Like it's not soft.
I had to go really hard. It hurt, but I had some people who wanted to come out on a ride that day, and I said, hey, let's just do a race up large. Let's have like everybody go out and try to PR up large. So we all started.
Who was with you?
Josh Monda, Dave Goodman, Dustin Shotkin, and Jeremiah Romero.
Okay. Good group.
Oh, and then actually randomly, Matt Bergkampus was like on the climb at the same time. I didn't get to see Matt, but he was out there at the same time.
Did you just blow by him or what?
No, he started like a minute back on everybody, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He can climb.
Yeah. So we started out. Oh, and then Corey Gray was with us too for a bit, who's a local triathlete. So we started out. Josh pushed the pace all the way up Powell, and then basically stuck with me all the way to that right-hand turn right after Powell. Mm-hmm. And then it was just a solo effort from there.
You don't even have a power meter, right?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay.
I know I didn't pace it.
I'm sure it gives you estimated watts on whatever. Strava.
Yeah, I definitely didn't pace it as well as I could have, but I put
a long climb.
I think it was like I put 50 seconds into Robert, somewhere around there.
50 seconds?
50 seconds.
Wow.
I don't know though, because Robert is going to go out there.
They are coming for you.
Robert's coming guns blazing, and I am scared because Robert's best effort is very quick. So we'll see. Well, whatever Robert puts down, I'll try again at some point. But
that'll be awesome.
Yeah. I have a feeling I'm going to hold on to the crown for about as long as I did last time, which was like 7 days.
Okay, so Robert put in 7 seconds on Tonk.
Yeah.
So, and then you have about 40 some odd seconds on Robert.
Oh, man.
Is that right? No, 50 something seconds. So
that's going to be awesome.
He was 23-23 and you're at 22-37. So,
wow.
Not sure if it's enough.
That's a beast of an effort, Evan.
it's going to need to be more of a beast than ever, I think.
It's
we'll
super
see,
fun
though.
that you guys are just playing around on that hill.
My goal was to put 1 minute into Robert because I was like, okay, 1 minute may be enough.
If you could like dissuade them from trying.
If they have a bad day.
Okay.
Robert's going to need not a good day.
But
that's
fun.
We'll see.
Do you think you left any meat on the bone there for you to go back and get?
I think I left 30 to 40 seconds on the bone.
Wow.
If I pace it better next time.
Pacing. Okay.
You need a power meter.
I think
a lightlightweight power meter.
I was texting some people last night. We're getting a power meter here soon. Yeah.
Very
lightweight. Yeah, very lightweight power meter. But yeah, that's basically all of my everything else is running and swimming, and outside that.
How's the swimming going?
It's about as plateaued as it can be. Yeah.
Did you do a long run yesterday?
Yeah, I did. Ran loops around the Horseshoe Lake while Maddy, Nels, and two of their friends were riding bikes. Maddy and Nels were helping two of our younger swimmer triathlete people learn how to ride on two wheels. And
there's a lot to learn there for sure.
There is. Maddy was doing a good job of being like pack leader for them. A couple times I saw Maddy was like pointing. She's like, on the back of my wheel, not to the side of me. That's where you got it.
Did you do a track workout this morning?
I did a treadmill kind of simulation track workout, which, all the speeds there somehow after the long run. So, cool. We'll see. We just need a race.
You need a race. You could use a race really badly.
We need a race bad,
Yeah.
Mr. Nels Martin, why don't you backpedal for us?
Okay.
What you been up to this past week?
Last weekend, our family went to Crescent Lake.
Ooh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bring bikes?
Yes, we did.
What, like just road bikes?
Yes.
Okay.
Just road bikes. We did a hike one day that went up above the lake, like 2,000 feet, which was a lot on foot, and it was very steep, and it hurt my legs a lot. And it's actually really scary too towards the top.
Yeah,
there
totally.
were like steep inclines and ropes and slippery things, and I had like worn out shoes from 2 years ago that did not grip very well. So
that's
were you wearing Vans?
No, I wasn't. I think Vans would have been better.
Vans probably would have been. Vans have a good grippy bottom to them.
They do. And my dad was in Chuck's, the
Yeah.
Converses, and they worked really well.
Oh, your dad does wear Chucks.
Your dad always has.
That's
I always
Sean's
look at your
thing,
dad's
right?
shoes, and I'm like, he has cool shoes. And
Yeah,
cool,
Sean got
cool
style.
sunglasses. He's got more style than the rest of us.
He wears the same thing every day, but it is a very cool thing.
I know.
Yeah.
That works.
Sean style.
It's a programmer lifestyle.
Must be. So we did that, and it was scary, but I made it back down. Got some cool photos at the top.
Oh, good.
And then we spent the next night in Port Angeles, and we did the Hurricane Ridge ride, which was it might have been Port Townsend, one of those two ports.
Ports. They're all the same.
I know.
Do you just stick with your dad, or do you drop him?
He dropped me actually.
Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah, my quads were gone from the hike the day before is the excuse.
So that was well played by your dad.
Yeah, I guess so. But that was a really cool climb. It's like 20 miles. Mike Ivan actually did it before we did, so we saw him do that, and we were like, that looks cool, and it was.
Yeah.
It was 20 miles, 5,000
Port
feet of
Angeles.
climbing.
I just looked that up for you. Yeah, Port Angeles.
Thank you, Evan.
Nice.
20-mile climb, 5,000 feet of climbing, 5%. Not actually as difficult as it sounds because it's just a steady gradient, and it doesn't really bite anywhere, and you can just kind of go on up it. And I wasn't having a great day at all, and I made it to the top, pretty well. So
it looks beautiful from these pictures, Nels. Was it? Did you guys have a pretty clear day when you got up there too?
Yeah, we did.
That's beautiful.
We actually came back there with the rest of the family afterwards because the park stays open all the time, and we were told the light was really good from one of the rangers in the evening. So we came back with family and got some great views over the Strait of Juan.
More photos.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are you on Instagram somewhere so people can see these photos, or are you private account?
I am, but my mom actually posted most of those photos.
Okay.
So
I'm with you, Nels. I don't post photos on Instagram. It's not worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that. And then on Thursday, I did a bike ride with Maddy and Alex. That was fun for most of it. We did riding on Prune Hill, which was cool because it was, it's where I live, so I got to show them all the cool hills. And then Alex, a car left hooks Alex, just like it did with Jake.
It was a fun ride until it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's super scary.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, go ahead.
Alex is okay now.
Yes.
But the scene and the situation, how it all happened, was pretty scary for both of you guys, correct?
Yeah, it was. just
yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are pretty young to kind of go through something like that, which is, I think in the cycling world, it's something that sometimes we don't like to talk about a lot and try to keep quiet. But there's, there's moments like with your dad too, Nels, where you had Jake and your dad going down too, and that's, it's. I think the best thing we can be is that Alex is actually texting us randomly throughout this. He's very antsy that he's not here. So and anybody's wondering how Alex is doing, there are some, other issues going on with him, which we won't go into the medical stuff, but he's as healthy as you can be after something like that happening.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
And somehow he did not break a bone, which
no.
I will divulge that only bit of medical, which to me is just amazing. He's literally Gumby.
I would have figured out a way to at least break half a dozen bones.
Yeah.
At least.
So. I fell down the stairs last week and almost broke something. Like Nels gets,
I fell skateboarding.
Alex gets hit by a car and is just somehow, he somehow does not break a bone. That's incredible.
Great.
Yep.
He's got bones of steel.
Super pumped that he's okay, because that's a scary scene, and hopefully it's like, I think as I started cycling, I had no fear, and I used to bomb down hills and all this stuff. And then the more and more I biked, I think the more and more cautious I've become.
Yep.
And I think it's because of stuff like this. You have a friend that gets hurt, or you get yourself hurt, and you just kind of start to think, okay, it's not worth, the downhill descending KOMs are definitely not worth it.
No.
So,
and all three of you are very good bike handlers too.
That's true.
So this is where I think, that's something that you can tell some juniors that you guys talk to and getting into the sport, is that just getting comfortable on your bike is the safest thing that you can do for yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. Because anybody who's ridden with Nels or Alex does know they're both very good bike handlers, both of you. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then Maddy likes to ride in the drops so much. I always dress, if a junior's comfortable always riding in the drops, they're a very good bike handler naturally. And Maddy doesn't leave the drops whenever I ride with her. It's very rare to see Maddy's hands come up on the hood. So.
Maddy, do you have a TT bike as well? I can't remember.
No, I don't.
Just have regular road bike.
She just rides in an aggressive aero position at all times.
There you go. Okay. You have just strap-on aero bars or something?
No, I don't have aero
Not
bars.
yet? Okay.
No.
That's like a cheap way for you to get some free speed for your next triathlon. So
I will try that.
Yep.
She's just too busy being off the front in the swim. Yeah.
Yeah.
She just waits for everybody else to catch up.
Doesn't need them in the local triathlons, though.
No.
Crushes
She's doing just fine.
everybody
She's
as
doing
it
just
is.
fine without
I know,
him.
but a lot of it's more like you against you against the clock, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a 40K, and if you go fast enough, you'll hit this particular split, and so it's definitely worth kind of honing those things. And you can get those just cheap aero clip-on bars for like $20.
Oh yeah,
so it's not a huge investment, and it's a again, bringing your body more narrow is huge as far as
make sure they're the kind you can put weight on.
Oh.
Yeah. Trek brand.
Not Trek.
Oh
Not
wait,
Trek.
no, not Trek brand.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, you want to avoid those Bontrager.
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 Anything else, Nels?
Yeah, we had a fun day yesterday with swimming, and we went out to Horseshoe Lake, and we the triathletes did some swimming, which Maddy will probably go into more, because I didn't swim myself. I paddleboarded and did my best to act as sort of a buoy or
guide.
something guide.
He was the moving beacon. Yes.
The moving
Follow
beacon.
me.
Yep.
So I paddled around, and then there's a bike ride after that. We did 20-second sprints, so that was fun.
Oh yeah, that's a good workout.
Yeah, it was hard though.
Yeah.
Nels has some get up.
Yeah, I know.
Really does.
I know.
God.
Yeah, some
Every
of those
time
like
we're
little
running by,
shorts.
it was like you kind of hear the whir. Sounds like, I bet that's Nels, and then Nels just come blowing by us on the outside.
How many times did you crack 1,000 watts?
I think
all of them.
3.
Okay.
That's my boy.
Mind blowing, Nels.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So what did you think of the whole hanging out with the tri-dorks? You had fun out there for the day, and you're going to go back out?
Probably, yeah.
I mean,
it's a very early morning though, so that's the main deterrent.
What time do you guys start?
Awesome.
We usually start the swim at 8, but it's at Horseshoe, so
yeah.
So it's a drive for me. I did at 6.
Yeah.
But it's awesome to have all your workouts done for the day at 10.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
it's a paradigm changer. So.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Right.
Cool. Maddy.
So we haven't been doing much like my family, but I've been doing more with the Dial Juniors. So like Nels and Alex and Natalie too. Like not just working out stuff. Like we all went to the beach one day, which was really fun. And then we did the thing yesterday. I got Nels to run, which I was very proud
Whoa.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. He ran 2 miles, I think.
Nice work.
I got to see the finishing sprint, Nels. It looked solid.
Yeah.
You looked like you were going all out there. I like that.
Nels, you can run cross country for me if you want. We'll take it.
If my side feels as bad when I run cross country as it did then I'm not sure I have a future in that.
That's just a side stitch. Yeah.
They go away after your third run, Matt? Isn't that? After 3 runs, they go away
Something
forever?
like that.
I think so.
Forever.
Cross country mountain bike team.
There you go.
Cameron
I
should
think
start that, actually.
it would be interesting if you ran cross country. It's like you would get better so fast just because you have all of this endurance from cycling, and it's just a matter of translating that over, and you have the right body type for running. So think about it.
Yes.
Think about it.
Yeah, it is good to have variety and
Yeah, well, I mean,
Bone
a
density.
lot of the pro cyclists are going out running right now because
Mike Woods.
Mike Woods. Well, I don't think it's just specifically Mike Woods, but like all of these, even like the whole Ineos team did like a 20-kilometer run.
I did see that, yeah.
And
Wow.
they're worried about their bone density and
Right.
some other issues like that as well. But also, it's just a different method of getting some exercise and some
cross-training,
cardio.
yeah.
So,
What else, Maddie?
Well, I swim every day still, but normally it's 3.5 hours a day, but it has been cut down to 1 hour a day because of COVID. And we're only allowed to have one person in a lane instead of the usual, like, 8 to 10.
you guys aren't doing the opposite side of the
No,
pool?
that's not allowed.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's what we're doing.
They got angry at us, so we have to go to
Interesting.
one per lane.
And is that at Cascade? Where are you swimming?
Yeah, Cascade.
Okay.
We
Cool.
borrow their pool.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of frustrating because it's like a third of what we normally do. So I feel super slow whenever I go to swim with the Dialed Shy team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
you're still in front of everybody.
Thank you, Nels. Thank you, Nels. I was about to say the fact that Maddie feels slow swimming with us may be because she's so far ahead of us that she thinks we're doing repeats back and forth, but we're actually just chasing her. So yeah, it's a good thing we have somebody on a paddleboard now that can actually pace her.
Yeah, it's nice to have Nels on the paddleboard because I don't like
Yeah,
the
that's true.
fish in the lake. So if there's somebody next
Oh,
to
I
me, I
forgot
feel
that,
much
yeah.
more comfortable. Yeah.
Maddie has Alex's favorite thing to do is before we start swimming is point out all the fish that he has seen before we start. And then I try to tell her that they're small fish. And then sometimes you see a fish that's not so small. And then we do have to go through like, Maddie, it's okay. You're going to swim faster than we promised.
What about the snakes? You like the snakes in the water?
Well,
There are no snakes in the water, Maddie.
I
Don't
am-
believe him. There's no snakes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure there's no snakes in that lake.
Okay.
Thankfully.
There are none.
Lake eels. Yeah.
I've seen some.
Yeah, that's Alex's favorite topic is lake eels. Maddie, there's
Oh,
eels.
yeah,
in the
yeah, I
lake.
forgot the lake eels. Yeah. It's like, no, really, I saw it. It was huge.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your swimming background. That's kind of where you have shined the most to date. I mean, and the triathlon stuff is kind of new. It's like, what, the last 3, maybe 4 years?
Well, I started triathlon when I was 9, so more
Oh,
like
okay.
Yeah, she started
6.
pretty early.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've been swimming since I was 7 or 8, I think.
Okay.
So much longer. I've qualified for state, I think, 6 years now. I mean, like, you try to get the times to go to state, and then you go to state and you race, and I've placed a couple times, which is always very nice to do. But yeah, swimming is much more competitive. I would like you guys to go to swimming and see how much
Yeah.
I get annihilated there.
Oh, we would
Oh,
get
yeah.
destroyed at a swim meet.
Oh, I think I once had a buddy at Ohio Northern who got me into what was their like intra-squad meet.
Yeah.
And just, it wasn't even the same race. I was playing water polo. Like, it was not.
Right. It's like,
I wasn't even involved in
did
the
they
race
start,
at any moment.
Did they start the race? Because
No.
these guys are already coming back.
Like, the
for
race
their-
is done. It is.
Yeah, they move through the water so much differently than,
yeah.
those of us.
And
that-
Maddie's got the ability too. I know I had mentioned earlier here, she was second in the 50 free. And as good as she is at free, Maddie, you've told me your favorite stroke is backstroke.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, because my coaches get on to me about my breathing because I'm sort of known as the one that likes to breathe too much. And so I
That's
like
backstroke.
backstroke because you can breathe as much
There's
as you want.
there's
and they
all
keep
that
it angry at
oxygen
you.
up there. Yeah.
She's pretty good at taking in oxygen, so, got to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that swimming, is something you should do as long as you can, because having that big team atmosphere is so fantastic, and you're getting these really fantastic workouts, 3 hours when we're not in COVID times. But those are great, and I think you should keep doing that. Cross country, my question for you was like, I know you want to do cross country, and it's never coincided because you've got swimming and you have to choose. But this year is different. This year we're doing like a split of 4 seasons. And cross country is going to be in the first spring season. So I don't know where swimming is going to fall.
Swimming is supposed to be, I think, the last season of the year. Like, normally it's in
Okay.
fall, but it's not this year.
So swimming is going to conflict with track, which is also bad because you like to do everything. So
Yeah, I'm probably going to pick swimming above running because
Right.
I want to try cross country this year. Actually.
But so you could do that. You could do cross country, and
Cross
then you
and
could do.
swimming, yeah.
They'll have like this 1 week overlap probably.
Yeah.
So cross country will go if you make the championship season, which you may or may not for cross country. You would potentially miss 1 week of swimming, which shouldn't be a huge deal.
Yeah,
but-
that would be fine because the
Right.
coach for my high school is my coach for my swim team, so I'm pretty sure they'd be lenient. So
Yeah, they'll be understanding. It's just I don't know. We'll have to see how that championship season goes. The season is so short. It's 6 weeks now for high school stuff. It's crazy.
yeah, it's insanely short. I'm always expecting it to be like, a couple months,
Right.
Like swim season is year round,
Right.
but it's always way shorter than I expect it to be.
So for any of that stuff, whether it's cross country or swimming or track, which is not going to happen, but like all of that stuff is kind of a long ways away. So what are you doing now? What's the training look like?
Well, I
Just-
get into about like 12 to 15 hours a week. So I swim 5-6 days a week for only an hour. And
Yep.
I run 3 or 4 days a week, and I bike 3 or 4 days a week. Not training for anything specific, but I'm just trying to like slowly build up my strength.
Okay. So it's kind of like an endurance phase. You're just building up mileage and hours and things like that. So
Maddy's got one of the bigger aerobic bases of anybody her age.
Yeah,
I'm really
that's huge.
thinking that, and this is not, I know Maddy will never brag about herself, but probably in the country, there's only a couple girls that
Right.
are even training at close to that volume right now. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, you think about running, when we train runners, it's all about taking, these younger athletes, and depending on when they start, it's all about developing that aerobic capacity, which takes years.
Years and years,
And
yes.
so, you look at Nels, it's like, well, we got speed. We got speed to go for days, but it's the aerobic capacity stuff that just takes a long time. Like I'm sure when you do a bike ride with your dad, who's got 20 years of aerobic capacity development.
72 years of
I
aerobic
definitely
capacity
feel that.
development.
If you raced him for a 50-mile race, it'd be hard to beat him, right?
Yep.
But if you were to race him for a 50-meter race, you would destroy him, And so I think it's interesting. You're like, I don't know. It's pretty-
Nels is,
pretty quick.
though, Nels had the Forest Home 10K climbing day, and that's something
That's
well
true.
outside
That's-
of the grasp of most kids at your age when
Yeah,
we're talking
that's
10,000 feet of climbing in a
highly
day.
aerobic, for
Actually,
sure.
very aerobic.
I did the Weisting there, so it was actually 11.
Yeah. So then you would even added some on top of that. That's like, what was it, like 4 hours of climbing then, something like that?
Yep, 4 hours, 10
Oh
minutes.
my gosh.
Ouch.
Yeah.
These kids, they're gonna be smoking us in a couple. Like,
Oh,
I think we just brought them on this podcast so we can then play this back to you guys when you guys are like killing us in a couple of years. Just
Wow. Impressive. Cool. Anything else, Maddy?
I don't think so.
Thank you. My back pedal, real quick. Just started the Dialed 100. Got on that
5
on
days in
Wednesday. Yeah, I took Tuesday off.
Dialed 100.
Yeah, so we're.
I didn't know exactly what we're calling it.
Yeah, the Dialed 100 Day Challenge, but we're hashtagging it Dialed 100, and I think that started on Wednesday, and we're on day 6 today.
Yeah, today
So
will be 6. Yep.
I will most likely be on the trainer, doing one of Matt Legrand's low wattage.
That's the key, man.
Well,
I think don't do anything
You got
too
the
crazy.
tour here coming up soon, which is going to be
Yeah.
so nice for
Trainer
20
days.
of those days.
Just
here
get up in
coming
the morning and
Oh,
just
That's
just
a good
flip the
point.
tour on. God.
I did have a couple of good days on the bike. My shoulder is still hurting a little bit. Don't want to get into that too much, but I've been able to get on the bike and ride. I had, I think, 3 days this past week where it was over 40 miles, so that was fun. And a couple days where we built in some, some harder efforts, if you will, and responded pretty well. So it'll be nice to have an off day today and just kind of
That's good.
Take it easy.
get ready for the rest of the
You
week.
rode on Saturday with Sean, right?
I did.
How was that?
It was fun.
What'd you guys do?
We drilled the whole ride.
We always go hard.
Yeah.
What did you guys do? Gravel or
No, it was
just
road.
go
We did
flat
that little
stuff, or-
interlocking loop that Sean likes to do. It's
Oh, is it like kind of over by Marine Drive?
a little bit, yeah. So I rode over to their place, and it's literally a ride that you can do that's 40 miles, and you don't have to stop for any real stop signs or stop lights. So it's like you don't have to click out at all, unless you're riding with me, because I have to stop and use the bathroom and fix my seat height and little things like that. So.
Okay, I need to adjust mine too. So.
Yeah. But we were riding down the old Evergreen Highway, and for those of you in the local area who have ridden on that before, know that that's not the nicest of roads, and
Yeah.
caught a couple potholes or something like that. My seat dropped down just a touch.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. But other than that, it was just a great week of riding and having fun. It's been beautiful weather. I mean, the temperature definitely calmed down quite a bit, and
it did. It was nice, like high 60s, low 70s.
Yeah, there was a couple days where I think it touched 80, but it was still just beautiful weather for riding.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's do a little lead out news. There's not a whole heck of a lot we're going to be able to talk about here right now.
Tour's coming up.
But the tour, it is almost here.
Le Tour.
If you listen to our last podcast where we gave our tour predictions, we all talked about Chris Froome.
Guess who's not going to be at the tour?
He's not going to be at the tour.
Guess who else
remember
is
when
not
I gave you
gonna be
my
at the tour?
remember when I gave my prediction like, oh, Ineos is just scaring him so that he'll pay closer to that was so wrong.
Ineos is in full panic mode right now.
Oh.
The fact that they dropped G from the tour team shows they are in full panic mode.
Wow. No, they're going to be fine. They made the right decision. They're pulling in their studs, but they're going to upset a lot of people. Like not just
all the British people,
every British
who cheer
person,
for their team,
every British person,
British
but not just the country of England. Like everyone else, everyone likes G, don't they?
That's true. Everybody does love G. Everybody's indifferent about Froome, but everybody loves G.
Yeah, I think so.
So I asked this when that all dropped. I said, does my prediction of Chris Froome being the biggest disappointment of the tour count in this situation? And Evan probably said no. But
No. I did say no because he's technically not even in the tour then. So he's beyond a disappointment then. He wasn't even in the tour.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be an interesting tour, I think.
I genuinely hope he comes back strong next year.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the guy just needs another year under his belt before he's back.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to race
the Vuelta, right?
Yeah. Vuelta.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the tour starts on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts or plans, or are you guys going to do anything special for that? You guys going to watch it?
I'm actually going to be in Bellingham training, but I'm considering doing the GCN live stream thing.
Okay.
So I can watch the full races after.
Okay.
Is this something you buy the GCN series or something? Or?
Yeah. I think GCN is like a streaming service that they're using for the races.
Okay.
So you can just go on to.
I usually use the NBC one. You and I use the same thing.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I've used as well. So GCN's doing this now too.
GCN has something. Yeah, it's like a race pass.
Do you get to actually watch it live though?
That's a good question. I need to look into it a little bit more. I think you can actually. I'm pretty sure it's a full streaming service.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So our lead out news is go watch the Tour de France on Saturday.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Stage 1 is not a prologue. It is a
No
race.
prologue?
It is a stage. Yeah, no prologue.
I wanna look at that.
Stage 2 is a bit mountainous, so stage 2 will be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Saturday and Sunday stages.
Okay.
Patreon news. Don't have any new Patreons to announce this week, but thank you to everybody who is a Patreon. But, did you guys do your homework on this? We did get a message from the real Champ Bailey.
I saw it in our little
secret encoded message.
Something about a woman taking the overall record and beating him in.
Chloe, somebody that's did the English Channel.
Chloe McCardell?
I don't know.
Has the new fastest time across the English Channel. Kind of cool.
I feel like that's not like a record that we keep track of.
It's just a really,
awesome.
really cold swim is what it sounds like.
Yeah, like pretty dangerous.
Did she do the non-wetsuit or wetsuit? I'd have to look into that.
I think a lot of those people do no wetsuit.
I think that's kind of like the thing. It's like, if you're going to do the English Channel, you got to go no wetsuit, which just sounds...
What are the water temps there?
Absolutely insane.
Purple?
Just, negative 100. I have no idea. So cold.
Is that something you'd ever want to do, Maddy?
I'm not super into super cold water because, swimming is like 80 degrees.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, no.
Yeah. No.
Maddie's not exactly built like a pure cold water swimmer. We'll just put it that way.
Going back to the real Champ Bailey, they do have their own Strava account now.
Yes, he commented on one of my rides this weekend.
Yep, same here, and I think we've all followed him back. So I'm just kind of curious. Any thoughts on who this person might be, or do we want to try?
Are we allowed to make guesses right now? Because I've got a pretty good guess.
Let's hold off. I think we might be more.
I have no idea. Whoever this is doing a fantastic job. They're posting really weird segments on Strava, so we are all clueless. And good job, keep it up.
There was a.
It's not a cornerback from the Denver Broncos. That's the only thing that I've.
That's what you're sure of.
There was a post of them doing a stand-up paddleboard ride
on Prune Hill.
On Prune Hill. There's no water on Prune Hill.
It was a beautiful segment.
Yeah.
He's got
really
the KOM on the stand-up paddleboard on top of Prune Hill.
I'm impressed.
Oh. And then just one more quick note. Dove Erickson? Eric. Dove Eric.
Yep.
Sorry. I will be reaching out to you. I know that you have sent me a message, and I will be sending you some more information very soon. Stay tight. Sit tight. I'm stumbling over my words
Stay
here
tight there.
'cause I'm trying to think about too many things. But things are finally settling down here at the lab, which is fantastic because I've got so much catching up to do, and it's going to allow me to do some catching up. So I will be getting in touch with you. There's a few things that you and I need to touch base on, and just wanted to thank you again for being a Patreon. If any of you listening would like to become a Patreon, go to dialpodcast.com. You will see the Patreon link there. You can click on that and go through and do your thing. We appreciate all of you, and thank you. Next week, we will be doing another drawing. So anybody who adds themselves as a Patreon between now and then will be a part of that drawing. Kind of cool. Yep. Our topic for the day. You guys ready for this? The importance of our cycling family. And that can be just our friends and our cycling community. It can also be our family. There's some of us that have the whole entire family, Maddy.
Yeah, Maddy, your family definitely is supportive of
family.
your endeavors. Nels, you're out of luck. You have no one in your family that understands biking.
Yeah, I'm the black sheep for sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, not for nothing, but that's me. But sort of. So just want to kind of run through this. There's been a lot of things that have happened recently, and there's a lot of things that are going on in the cycling world. There's a lot of new people out there riding, and I just wanted to kind of impress upon everybody that there is this cycling family, and like I said, it could be our immediate family, and it could just be the people that we connect with on the outside, of how important that is. I just want to run around the table and let everybody kind of speak their piece about this, and I've got a couple other little things to plug in and just go from there. So, Matt, what is the cycling family to you?
So one of the things that I would definitely think about with this particular topic is just the situation where Alex had this little accident, and we're all thankful that he's okay, but kind of the network that he has, which is awesome. Like, you guys were there, you guys, like, immediately the message gets to Jake and to Evan, and then Evan's on the phone calling and checking on people. It's nice to know that the group cares, you know?
Yeah.
And I noticed this a lot with pretty much any crashes that we have on the team. People are worried about you, which, you know, it's, you know, you don't want a whole bunch of people worrying about you, but at the same time, it's a lot better than having no one worry about you.
Exactly.
So
they're very quick to act and react in an appropriate and positive way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah,
go ahead.
And I mean, everything from like, hey, we have this ice backpack thing, you know, and just being like, I'll bring this to your house, and just all kinds of stuff like that the team does to just support each other when there is a problem, you know, or concussion protocols, right? Like, you know,
absolutely.
we're not born knowing this information, and some, you know, we have to learn it at some point.
A lot of this information's changing almost year by year, really.
Yeah. So it's, I think it's great to have any sort of support.
Sure.
And we have a pretty diverse team. There's, you know, coders on the team. There are medical professionals on the team. There's engineers on the team. You know, there's people who are very handy with bikes on the team. There are people who are not very handy bikes with the team. But, you know, there's a lot of people with different skill sets that help each other out.
I remember when
like
Lance had his crash on the team, you know, I think Hannel was like right there with you guys.
You got a doctor right there.
You have a doctor right there with you. And, you know, it's just nice to have people looking out for you.
Absolutely.
For sure. And it's not just when there's bad things happening, too. It's all kinds of situations and scenarios. Just think about you coming into the sport of cycling for the first time. I mean, having people there to kind of show you the ropes and help you kind of make the right steps. And, you know, if you're starting to look into maybe a little bike racing and you want to know, like, hey, what do I need to do? They can definitely point you in the right direction so that they can help you avoid missteps or accidents or just bad things in general. So
yeah, I get a question a lot of like, hey, I want to get into cycling, you know, or usually it's triathlon because of the YouTube channel, but it's like, how do I buy that first bike? And I actually tell people, like, join a triathlon club and make friends with someone that's into biking and have them go with you to look at some of these used bikes, because they're going to know right away, like, hey, there's a crack in the carbon fiber frame here, or like, you know, you should haggle down $50 because these tires are bare and you're going to have to buy new tires. Like, it's just things that we all take for granted. You know, you don't know that stuff when you're new to the sport. And having a team or a club or whatever it is, like, there's a lot of people that are very passionate about cycling or bike components or watches or whatever. And if you just reach out and ask people, they're happy to help you. So if you're not part of a team or a club, you know, definitely consider reaching out and joining a group.
Absolutely.
I've got a question for Nels. Nels, do you think you'd be riding bikes if it were not for your dad?
Probably not.
What do you think you'd be doing?
Rubik's Cube solving.
Yes.
World class. You'd be world class at this point.
I do have a lot of other hobbies that I'd probably pursue more, but in terms of sports, I'm not sure there would be anything else because I've never done like soccer or any of those other, organized team sports because I wasn't really introduced to them at an early age and haven't had much interest in them. So it's been great having my dad to introduce me to the sport and mentor me through it and be there to ride with me.
So me flying at a little bit higher of a level, looking at this whole situation, I love the idea that your dad has instilled that in you because it's fantastic for the cycling community. Just think about all of the things that you wouldn't have accomplished on the bike to date, and think about the cycling community having one or two less people in it. That's kind of saddening to me. So the fact that your family can have that kind of influence on you, which can ultimately have a very positive influence on the cycling community as a whole, is fantastic. And I think for parents, especially those that like to ride bikes, make sure that you're taking the time to invest in your kids. That's something that I don't want to say I'm guilty of not doing, but my kids, I could probably ride with them a lot more. And but for a long time, they just weren't of age, but they're starting to get there. Unfortunately, my oldest isn't into cycling at all. Like she tolerates it at a minimum, and she'll do it when when we go on a family ride, when we go on camping trips or something like that. So.
She was walking home the other day, and I was like, "Get your dad to get you a bike." And she was like, "No, I don't like biking." She's like, "It's all uphill." I'm like, "You could bike. You could do it." Anyway, she won't listen to me, but like
she did do a ride with some of her friends, and she was kind of like saying like that was actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything because I didn't want to ruin it. But
and then I saw Barrett bombing down the hill recently, and I was like, I'm going to talk to your dad and tell you you're going too fast. Like such a grumpy old man, like you're going too fast, Barrett.
You damn kids. He loves riding bikes, and I love that. And I can go on rides with him now, and it's like, all right, he's starting to get to that age now where he can go for more than a mile. It's like, all right, well, let's go do 10 or 15 miles. And I remember you, Nels, not too long ago. Your dad got you a road bike, and we started with you riding 10, 15, 20 miles. And I can remember your first 50-mile ride out to Frenchman's Bar, and like you were just limping back. But
yeah, that was terrible. I don't think I was quite ready for that, but
you did it.
But you can crush that now. And there's not much that you can't do. And you're, 16 years old?
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's cool because
she's only 16. Jeez.
As a dad on this side of the table, it's nice to see what your dad has done and like worked with you and, got you a good bike and all these things. And I'm like, it's just nice to see that as kind of like a roadmap for what we could do with our kids in the future because it's something we're passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact too that you cherish and like the whole riding thing, and you have a great bike, and it's not something that a lot of kids these days just they want things. They want to have all the things, and then they get it and it's shiny for a few moments, and then they just kind of put it away. Your bike is not a garage ornament, as we refer to bikes that are just hung up in there to look at. You take it out and you're riding regularly, and you've been doing that for a long time, and you are self-driven and you've got initiative. You do that on your own, and that's fantastic. So just a big kudos to you. I think that's fantastic. And Maddy, you're just the same.
Next level.
Yeah. Just has a pair of goggles and running shoes too. That's the only difference. Yeah.
No, Maddie's entire family. She's got a younger brother, and both of her parents. They all go on these family, and your grandpa too. I can't forget your grandpa. Yeah. You guys go on these like family rides and family ventures, and they seem like they're getting a little bit longer just by And I know that you're probably like chomping at the bit, like I want to go faster, I want to go further, and all that.
Your
other
little
stuff,
brother's starting to hang on a little bit more now, isn't he?
Yeah, he definitely
over last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another great thing, another great example of like families getting together and doing this stuff. I love that.
Are they coming to a lot of the horseshoe things, like the whole family going out there?
Oh, no, just my mom normally comes because she has to drive me. But they just kind of like to cycle because my dad and my brother aren't really huge fans of swimming.
Right.
And they don't like running that much either. So they were like, hey, cycling. So I got them all. To get bikes.
Family thread. Yep.
That's cool. Yeah. And they used to go to all the Sunday long runs, lakeside long run things.
Yeah, as a whole family.
Yeah, we have to start bringing that back.
Did your mom swim when she was younger?
Well, she was a diver.
She was a diver? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I thought your mom had done something pool-wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever do diving when you were younger?
No. There's too much coordination.
Well, yeah, diving.
They don't have like a great option in our close area vicinity. I think you have to go all the way to Oregon to find a spot that's got a good diving pool.
Yeah, I don't see any like well diving around here in Vancouver.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's something we need. We should get something.
We do.
Do you two find value in the cycling family that you have here, whether that be your immediate family. Obviously, I think you're going to say yes to that, but just the cycling family, of like the community of people that you've become friends with and go out and ride with on a consistent basis, whether that be juniors or old people like us.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Cycling's a great way to meet people because the rides are usually pretty long and you have nothing to do but talk or go hard and not talk.
Yeah.
So,
and it's fun.
And Nels knows how to shut people up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I've gotten to meet a lot of great people who are my age and above my age and below my age. So, I definitely recommend that.
Nels would never say this about himself either, but he's actually like really funny whenever there's like an effort that starts. My favorite memories are like the comments that Nels will make throughout them. Like, I forget when we were at Mount St. Helens, Nels, and Nels very bravely held on to me and Mike for as long as he could. I always have to remember he's 16 years old, which just should be terrifying to anybody who's ridden a bike with him. But I forget what you said, like right when you popped off. But there was something where you were just like, I think I turned around to Mike and was like, want to pull? And Nels looked up and goes, no. And then just goes off the back.
Yeah, that was lights out for me.
Yeah, Mike was very, very impressed. That was also the day Nels beat Mike up a sprint, which Mike won't admit because he says that I changed the finish line, but Nels beat him.
See, we were neck and neck before that.
You were going to smoke him. I did, watching that breakdown go down, I was like, oh my God, Nels is out sprinting Mike right now. This is terrifying.
I think what you'll learn as you continue to do sports into the future is that there's, and you probably already have noticed this, but like there's definitely this huge bond that you build with whoever you do a 50-mile ride with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is like how I've had my best friends. It's like how, you know.
Oh, yeah, you and JP. I mean, you think about all the hard miles you guys put in together.
Oh, yeah.
That's your running family right there. Like,
right. So it's long runs, it's long rides, it's all these things. But, you know, swim team, your best friends end up being these people that you kind of have these shared experiences with. And some of these harder experiences are even better. So, you know, I think that it can definitely shape your life. You know, I wouldn't have met my wife had it not been through doing sports. So it's amazing when you start to think about like, oh, this has very much shaped my life.
Yep.
And it looks to me like it very much could shape all of your lives. So you really start to appreciate the sport, but definitely the relationships that you build from the sport.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
what are some of the things that you have really taken from the cycling family around you? Things that you've learned, or like some valuable lessons or just information or knowledge that you've downloaded from them. What are some things, some examples you can give us?
Well, there's lots of super just driven people who train, you know, really reliably and consistently, and that's super cool. It teaches you about how to be consistent in sport and just how to have a great work ethic. There's lots of people who are in very difficult professions and still somehow manage to balance that and family and riding, and that's a super cool lesson about how you can have balance in your life, and just a lot of great friendly people, you know, who when you're riding with them and you're talking with them, you really see just how you should be in general. Lots, you know, like there's lots of people who you're talking to, you just feel welcome. Chris Hanel is one of them.
Yep.
Who you're just talking to him and you just, you know, he makes you smile. And
I know you never think being at your age, right, that like a doctor and somebody as like successful in his career as he could be really goofy on a bicycle and hang out with you and make you laugh. Yeah,
but he totally is.
Yep, very, very well-rounded person.
One of the best people I know.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious.
How about you, Maddy?
Well, I have to say pretty much the same thing, but like you get to see the workouts that all these people do, and it helps you like figure out what you need to do and like how you're gonna change it to like fit you, and like they help you with getting equipment and stuff, and like give you advice on what to do, and it's really helpful. I think that they can impart that sort of like knowledge to you.
Mm-hmm. And that's just through, you know, coaching some of the younger kids too. And I think that just Maddy, you know, Elijah and Alex, definitely the thing that's cool with a sport like triathlon or a sport like cycling is you do get to learn how to coach yourself to some extent. And I think those are your best lifelong endurance athletes, are the ones that took some ownership in their own coaching too, which you guys definitely have. And you know, you guys always have great questions of like, why are we doing this type of build, or why are we doing this or that? And if you learn those questions when you're young, it gives you this much better like 10,000 foot view of the whole picture, which is good. And it's also good to realize at a young age too that we all want to get faster young, but sometimes it's that long-term picture.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any burning questions for some people sitting at this table with you who are part of your little cycling family?
Burning question may be a little old term for them.
Oh, I'm dating myself. Huh?
Well, I've heard that expression.
Do you think? Here's a question. Do you think we'll still be riding when they're our age? Will I still be here? Jeez.
Hold on. Let me
You know what's nice is they'll have the
in
option.
my 70s.
God, I better still be riding by that point. That's not good if I'm not riding by that point.
You better be.
I'll be 46, 47.
Matt and I will be in our
48.
I'll be in my mid 70s.
Yeah.
Good God.
I think you'll still be riding. You won't be riding quickly, but you'll still be riding.
I think there's some serious dangers to being 70 plus and riding. I mean, I think we should try it. I think we should go for it. But like, a fall at that age, is dangerous.
Who knows what the medical technology will look like at that point in time, though?
At that
They'll
point,
have a centrifuge.
we'll be part robot. We'll be cyborg cyclists. It'll be great.
Give me a shot of
the
whatever.
bike won't be able to fall over. That's the thing, is they'll have some centering thing in it.
Awesome. But any questions from you guys?
I would ask just like if you could go back to what are some lessons that you've learned later in life that you wish you could have told yourself when you were younger?
Oh, that's an awesome question.
God, that's a good question.
Okay,
Nels.
so
at 16, let's make it at 16.
At 16.
Think of yourself at 16.
Yeah.
So I was a state champion already at 16.
I was a baller already.
And so at that time, it's like just when you're learning, like, oh, you can train really hard. Like, I think you guys are picking that up right now, right? Where it's like, your friends have no idea, right? If they were to bike or swim or run or whatever, they'd have no idea like what it entails to work that hard and be good. So yeah, that over a long period of time, you're going to be fantastic. Let's start to learn to listen to your body, where it's like, is this an injury or is this an ache? And that's something that you're just going to have to learn through kind of like really kind of honing in on ask questions for sure, but like if this is an Achilles pain, like, okay, that might be something that I want to ease up on versus like, oh, my quadriceps are sore. Like there's just certain injuries that you want to kind of baby and other injuries where you're like, I'm fine, I can push through this. So that kind of learning that piece. The other thing is one thing that I would say that I had kind of maxed out my talent level with very massive amounts of training volume. But I definitely didn't do things like pay attention to getting good sleep, pay attention to eating well. And so
Tostitos every day, or
the Pizza Hut, right? Like pizza's great food. Like I love
Don't
pizza.
Get me wrong. Yeah, pizza's wonderful.
But lots of things like that where I think if I had just, you change any of those things and you're talking about having a personal record that's a couple seconds faster. And if for 50 free, it's a big deal if you can be just that little bit faster. Yep. On cycling, when you're talking like a century ride, it's, you start to think, I don't know. But like for the shorter distances and all those things, all those seconds add up to winning or losing the race. And I wish I had done a couple of little things different that way. So better sleep, better nutrition. The training was good. I was doing very high volume. I had, access to decent coaches. Again, there was less internet stuff, so we didn't have quite as much information about training at that time, and we didn't have all the recovery tools and all that stuff. But
less outside pressure too at that time.
But yeah, no one cared about running, right? They were only cared about football, and it was fine. It was great.
If you're in Alabama,
So it was super cool time to be able to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I probably could have been a little bit tighter about all the little details. So
there's a lot of stuff at that age that shapes you for the rest of your life that you don't realize is really happening at that moment. And there's things that you can seek out as well that will help shape the rest of your life. For me personally, I would have, if I could go back and change just one thing about myself when I was 16 years old, is go find a mentor. My family, I have a great family. My parents were fantastic. They were always supportive of things I wanted to do, but they're not the ones that introduced me to anything. I always did things. I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of fun. I remember like saying, hey, can I play baseball? I've heard friends saying that they're playing baseball. Like, okay, yeah, we'll sign you up for baseball. But it was never something that they had experienced before in their lives. It was never anything that they really were truly into. Like they would come and watch some of my games and all that stuff. And like anything that I wanted to do to get better at baseball, it was kind of on me. I didn't have somebody mentoring me or showing me like the steps or taking me to do the extra little bits of work and effort. Fast forward to my high school years when I'm 17, 16 years old, however you kids are. I can remember that when I was playing baseball in high school, again, doing everything on my own accord, we had a sports period where when we were out of season, we had to basically do whatever the normal physical education stuff was. And I can remember, and I think I've told this story before, that we would have to run twice a week, and the runs were usually 3 miles-ish long.
Wow.
My baseball coach at one point in time when we did this Thanksgiving turkey trot thing, it was like, I think it was like a 4-mile run or something like that, or maybe it was like a 5K or something, whatever it was, went up and bet the cross-country coach that his center fielder could beat the entire cross-country team. I'm the center fielder, by the way. So they had this whole thing going on, and sure enough, I beat the entire cross-country team. And this is at a time where I'm like, I'm just about baseball, but I'm like, well, maybe I'm kind of good at this endurance sports thing, but I kept really pushing towards the baseball side of things, where I was a good baseball player. I probably could have played in college if I wanted to, but I was more into school and internships and all that other stuff. And I kind of dabbled a little bit in bike riding, a little bit in mountain biking. And I was that kid when I was your age that I would get on my mountain bike and I would ride 15, 20, 25 miles by myself because nobody else wanted to go with me. They thought that I was dumb and stupid and like, why would you do that? I'm like, because it's fun, you know. And like I had all of these like signs that are showing like, all right, you can be a decent endurance athlete. Now I was never going to be on the tour or anything like that, but I could have gotten into cycling at a much earlier age and could have experienced a lot more from that. And I think I would have taken a whole heck of a lot more away from getting into cycling than I would from baseball, because baseball, you've got an expiration date on that's much, much, much sooner than say cycling. Like we have people on our team that turned 70 this year, still out racing, you know, and they're racing against their peers and whatnot. So I mean,
guys strong into their 50s, very strong into their 50s.
Swimming's tricky like that, right? I mean, it really is hard after collegiate swimming to do a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. But I like, it's super awesome to
Oh,
see.
yeah.
Like, there's a couple.
The master swimmers.
Yeah, they swim in the lanes next to us sometimes.
Right.
And it's amazing because they're like
those ones like
keeping up
Matt.
with like the best swimmers.
Right.
And it's, yeah, it's really cool.
No, you can.
I want to do that.
You can swim for life,
when you get
for
to
sure.
Matt's age, which is just so old. And it's like amazing that he can even put the cap on his head still.
Yeah. Oh, I get confused easily.
I know you do. Yeah.
But yeah, I do this master swimming group, and it's fantastic. I love the masters team and stuff like that. But at the same time, that really competitive swimming stuff, I feel like, I mean, you're either after college, it's like, well, if you're not going to the Olympics, there's not that easy avenue like there is for running, right? Like you can really do something with running after college.
Yeah, and cycling actually even gets more competitive in my opinion.
In triathlon especially.
And that's where, I mean, Jake, you competitively didn't get into cycling until what, you were?
Mid-30s.
Mid-30s, that's what I thought. Yeah. It was years after that, those early signs. Yeah.
I mean, I started a business when I was 25 years old, and that ate up a lot of my time. Got married like right before I turned 30, and then had kids, and life started to settle down just a tiny bit, and like that's when I really started getting into cycling.
Yeah.
And I've always had that competitive itch, and I've always wanted to be, you know, doing stuff competitively. I was playing a lot of like men's slow pitch softball. I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but that stuff gets super competitive.
I've treated a couple of those patients. Those guys take that very seriously.
There was a streak of about 3 or 4 years where I was playing more men's slow pitch softball games than the professional baseball players would play. I was playing between 107
like 8 games a day.
I was averaging about 175 to 180 games a year.
Jeez, that's crazy.
It was pretty nuts. But
how much more fun is cycling than that?
Well,
they're different.
They're completely different beasts. Yeah. But the benefit that I get from cycling far outweighs playing men's slow pitch softball. Now,
Nels, do not go to men's slow pitch softball. I will never forgive you if you go.
No, but I mean, I was playing center field, and so like you're running all the time.
Those are my dad played in one of those leagues. They're competitive.
And you know, not for nothing, but I used to be pretty quick. I don't know how fast I can run a 40 now, but in my heyday, I was a 4.6 40.
Yeah.
You know, and I was strong and all that other stuff. So I was playing center field, running a lot, and then like you can have one runner per inning, and I would usually always go out and run for the person that was injured when they got on base. So you get up in an inning, you're running for yourself, you're running for somebody else, and then you're playing in the outfield. Like you get to the end of a tournament and you're done. I mean, you're talking about an all-day affair. You've played 3, 4, 5 games that day, and you've just been sprinting all day long, and that there's a lot of work there, but that's not the way that it always is. So when I think about like the benefit that I get from cycling and the quality of people, I'm not to say that there's not bad or not good people in softball, but it's just the quality of people in cycling. Those people, that's my tribe. Those are my people right there. So I really connect well with them. So there's there's a lot of benefit to this whole cycling thing.
There is.
It really is. So, but to go back and say though, one last time, is finding a mentor for me would have been fantastic. If somebody said, "Hey, you've got the ability to be a pretty good fill in the blank cyclist," and maybe that would have shaped the way that I, kind of treated myself through my 20s and my 30s, and maybe I could have maintained a really lean weight. Maybe I could have been really competitive in my 20s and maybe done something just here at the national level. So that would have been pretty neat. But I didn't really discover it until it was on my own. And it was more of a function of all right, the baseball, softball thing started to taper off. We had kids, got married. My wife thought she was Betty Crocker, made all kinds of cakes and pies and whatnot. And guess who ate them all? Me. And I got way too heavy. I'm like, all right, we got to change some stuff here. So I got back on the bike and I used that as my vehicle, if you will, to get fit. And slowly but surely got back down to my fighting weight and started getting into it a little bit more, and then started doing more mountain biking, and then mountain bike racing came along, and then road racing kind of came along because I got on the road bike to get fit for mountain bike racing and fell in love with that as well. And it's just this big whole story. I want to be able to be that person, to connect with that person at a young age, or give that person at a young age that doesn't know that they're a fantastic cyclist the ability to become a fantastic cyclist or triathlete. And kind of create that conduit into the sport for them and support them. So
yeah, absolutely.
One thing you mentioned, the mentor piece, I think it's nice that Maddy has Evan, to see hey,
you're way overstating me. Trust me.
No, it's not that. It's I'm not saying that you're world's greatest person. I'm just saying
not even top.
Right,
Yeah,
not top five.
not even top five.
But what you do, one thing, from a mentor perspective, is that you at least are very open about your own personal training. And you don't hide anything. So I think one thing that's extremely valuable is seeing how hard you have to work to be a pro triathlete. And so her being able to see that is going to be huge.
Yeah.
For Nels, it's a little more tricky because I don't have, someone, all the tour riders are gone right now. They're in Europe. So we don't have someone here for you to
racing
go
in France.
chill out with.
But you do have some people on the cycling team that you can look at, and you're I mean, the best examples would be Tonk, when Tonk was building up a lot of his training, somebody's closer to your
Or maybe
age.
Robert, because he's kind of at that professional level.
Absolutely,
and if you ever want to pick his brain, you have access to all these people. So you could even be hey, can you walk me through one of your training weeks? What does it look like? Because that's super. When I was your age, I was I want to see. That's exactly the kind of stuff that I want to see.
That's the cool thing about Strava is you can't see what they're doing.
True.
And,
that's
what
true.
their workouts are looking
I
like.
actually think being open on Strava, it really bothers me that some pro triathletes aren't open on Strava, because to me it is more that guidance for people like both of you here that are young, very, very strong athletes that want to get some guidance from that. And that's triathlon especially is a really, Maddy knows better than anybody. It's a very strange sport to train for because every triathlete, as Maddy knows, comes from what should be a different training focus. So, if you were like Nels, if Nels was to tell me tomorrow, I only want to focus on triathlon, you don't have to tell me that, Nels, but if you do,
we're ready for it.
Talk about it.
We're ready for it.
But that training, Maddy and Nels' training plans would look so different because Nels is not going to be able to swim 9 hours hard every single week.
But he'll see twice the improvement on swimming.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Nels would chop down the times a lot. Maddie's so fast right now. We're talking a second or two improvement per year.
Marginal gains.
Very marginal gains at that point. Yeah. But no, it's going to your question for me. So when I was 16, the only thing I really cared about, I think, was I had just quit skateboarding, if I remember right. I was still hanging out with some friends who probably weren't good for me. And I only thought I was going to ever be good at soccer. I was terrible at soccer. I was really, really bad at soccer.
He's a pretty good soccer player.
No. I was at best, I literally used to wake up, lift in the morning, run, and play hours of soccer every single day to be slightly average. We're talking as much hours as I put into triathlon right now into soccer, and I could never figure that sport out. I was a D3 bench warmer in college. And bench warmer is a strong word. I literally think the only reason I stayed on that team in college was because the coach was like, ooh, this looks really bad if I cut the one kid who actually shows up to everything and sets up all of our indoor trainings right now. He's like, I can't cut him, but I definitely can't dress him because he's awful. So, but yeah, I wish I had at 16 somebody around me like you guys do, where it's somebody to be like, hey, you're really bad at soccer. You need to figure that out. You should probably try distance running because you're a whole lot better at it. But never really, I just always distance ran because I was always around people who did it. Yeah. But I think that the cool thing with the juniors right now and the family that they have around them is that's an easier transition to make because you're not, like Jake was saying, going off by yourself. Because in Ohio too, much like Bama, it's
much like Bama.
I mean, if you weren't playing football on Friday, nobody cared.
Yeah.
Or
That's kind
basketball.
Basketball.
In Ohio, we love basketball.
Yeah. Basketball was big
great.
at my high school.
But I couldn't jump, and my 40 was not quick. So
that
really narrowed my options.
Yeah. I remember having like this what do they call the rallies, for some basketball game or something like that.
Yeah.
And they brought me down a pep rally, thank you.
Yeah.
And they brought me down.
Oh, God.
And I was like, why do you want me to come out here? Like, no idea what they wanted from me. And they were like, you're state champion. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, no, you shouldn't care because no one cares.
Yeah, they're just just pumping up the basketball team. They're like, we just had an 8-8 season. Woo. And by the way, Matt, is that your name? LeGrandi? Okay, go ahead and come down here real
with
quick.
an E on the end, like the city in Oregon.
Oh, you thought you were going to do a speech. No. Here's your medal.
No.
Yeah, go back up there.
Yeah, no one
Can you
cares.
kick? Can you kick? Nobody cares.
No one cares.
Maddie, what is your question?
I wanted to know what focus of your life or what part of your life you'd wished you focused on at like our age, like athletics or school or social life, or like what part do you wish you'd spent more time on?
God, you guys
That's
are
a tough
really
question.
good questions.
For me, it's not just one, but keeping balance between
Yeah.
the three. I think you need to have all three, but finding the balance is going to be the big thing. For me, I started to sway a lot more towards the social part of it with like going out and doing stuff with my friends, and maybe took a little bit of time out of the whole bank of like being an athlete and being a better student. I could have done much better, and I should have been more challenged that way. But again, my parents were great, but I was never challenged that way. I was never held to standards. Just like, hey, I'm gonna go out. Like, all right, see ya. I didn't have like a curfew and didn't say be home at this time or check in. Did you get all your homework done? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm such a hard ASS with my kids, because I didn't have that necessarily with mine. But I don't. For me, it's just the balance component. So
I think all of us are going to say balance, because we wouldn't say, I mean, looking back, I probably should have focused more on grades because I was just didn't care. But like, especially when I was in college, I did care about grades, and the running joke was between me and my best friend, who was another collegiate runner, was like, you can have two things up in the air.
Yeah.
And then
you can be good at two things.
Yeah. It's like, you're either going to have a girlfriend, or you're going to have good grades, or your running's going to be going great. And like, one of those things is not going to be going well. And so that was always the case. And we were like, what two things are going okay? We would just kind of touch base on a weekly basis. Or
it
whatever.
kind of ratchets down on Lance's whole, like, you can do three things. So,
Lance?
But yeah,
Right.
I think that's even more appropriate because the amount of time that you're putting into those things, it's like one of those things is going to fall to the side.
Right. And really, like, the study stuff should not be allowed to drop. Right. And so it's, it would be girlfriend gets mad at you because you spend too much time running, or, whatever it is, or, don't have a girlfriend, I'm running great. Like, it was just like, things like that was just very
PRing every
impossible.
week.
There's a way you can solve that problem, though. Just find a girlfriend who runs so that you can.
It doesn't
Exactly.
work.
No?
Well, it all seems great until, whatever. We won't get into it, but like,
Oh, there's a story there.
there's definitely all kinds of stories. But I just think that you guys will always be struggling with that balance, but you're not alone, because everyone will be.
Yeah.
Don't let the grades slip, because, ultimately there's a 99% chance that you're probably not going to be a professional athlete when you're, 30. There's a pretty good chance that you're going to be a professional something else, a doctor or
Go for
lawyer
a
or
doctor.
dentist.
It's a whole lot more stable than professional triathlon.
Do the dentist thing. Where's Lance?
Seriously.
I know.
Gallivanting around the
Where's
world.
Lance?
Seems to be doing pretty well.
Where's Lance right now? Is he in the middle of nowhere with all of his bikes?
Rethink the physical therapy thing, but the dentist thing's looking pretty good, right? now.
Dentist looks like a good choice.
Evan, do you want to speak to this whole thing? Matt kind of shut it down real quick, but you've got a pretty solid significant other in your life who shares a lot of the same like passions that you do, and her training is just nuts right now. And
yeah, that's true.
Like, could you be with somebody who wasn't a triathlete? Would they put up with you and your
I've tried
25 hours a week?
A little bit older than what you guys were, and I'll definitely not go into details, but when I was in college, I definitely went through some relationships where it was, what are you doing today? Oh, going for a 5-hour ride and then running for an hour? Well, we were going to go, do things like beach volleyball and fun things. And be like, oh, okay, I'll go and meet you guys after. And then I never would.
Yeah.
So,
and then they get angry at you.
Yes. There was so I think if I was to go back to that time and say, like, okay, what did I want to balance better? It was actually more choose things that are going to complement other parts of your life. So the best example is you can juggle 3 things, like Lance says you can. There's going to be varying percentages of that. Like you may hit swim season and you're like, swimming's going to take about 60% of my time. Grades are always going to take that 30. Social is going to have to take a backseat for a little bit. Yeah. When social takes a backseat, or when school takes a small backseat, or when training takes a small backseat, just make sure that you've surrounded yourself with people that understand that. Because if you do what I did in very small town, rural Ohio, and had a lot of friends who were good people, but definitely did not understand those requirements, and this is a little bit older than what you guys were, but their weekends were looking way more different than I was waking up at 6 a.m. for training, as Matt knows, and there's
no one else is doing that.
Alabama University, usually kids are not waking up at 6 a.m. for training. Right. So as long as you're putting people around you that understand that, it's going to make your life so much easier.
And they don't have to be sports people. I used to have, what was interesting is like I was friends with all these musicians, and we always had this like, how are you making progress on like living the dream? What's living the dream? Living the dream is, for me, it was like making money, doing road races, and, like scraping by, right? And for them, it was like, we're selling records and we're going to these late night shows. And it was like, are you living the dream? And we were best friends because it's like we had this shared piece that was the same thing but very different.
Yeah.
But so
put people around you that are driven to do something.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. It could be art, it could be
Absolutely.
School, it could be anything. The more people you put yourself around that don't share that drive, that's when you're going to start feeling guilty for things you don't need to be feeling guilty for.
Yeah, which is tough.
Yeah. You should not feel guilty for like wanting to study on a Saturday night and train. If you find yourself around friends who make you feel guilty about that a lot, probably need to find new friends. That's just
shuffle the deck.
Shuffle the deck, yeah.
Yeah. Good questions, you guys.
Great questions.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions before we move into this last little part here?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay. There were a few questions that I had received from somebody who might be related to you, Maddy. There's a couple questions of that I wanted to go ahead and touch on, and if there are any other questions in there that you specifically want us to address, we'll do that. We're going to do this quickly. The first question was around safety. Do you use lights when riding? If so, on the front or the rear, or both red and white and flashing and solid and all that other bit? So my response to that question is I used to not have a flashing light on the front of my bike almost ever, unless I knew I was going to be riding at dusk. And I always try to have some sort of flashing red light on the back, just so the cars could see me from behind. I almost find it's just as important now from an experience that I went through to have that little blinky flashy light on the front, because you would be amazed at how far away you can see that light. Just when you're out riding next time, just pay attention to the cyclists going the other way who have them and who don't, and see which one you notice first and most furthest away. Now put yourself into the mindset of a motorist. Motorists are not to be trusted ever for any reason at all, and always assume that they are going to do the absolute worst thing to you, and you want to do everything you can to get their attention. Say, hey, right here, please don't hit me. So I always make sure now to ride with us a little tiny little nog flashy light on the front. Usually lasts for about 3 hours, and when I'm going on longer rides, I need to have an alternative to that, but I'll work on that. But long story short, the little blinky light on the front every single ride, and then the flashing red light on the back is going to be my Garmin radar, the Vario radar, which is fantastic because it shows me when the cars are coming up behind me, and I can get as far over to minimize the chance that I'm going to have some sort of physical interaction with them that I don't want to have. So that's me personally. What about you, Matt and Evan?
I think helmets are lame. They make you look like a dork.
This is why I look like a dork with my helmet. I've always bought a lime green helmet, like the brightest, most obnoxious green helmet.
No, all jokes aside, I mean, I'm going to recommend front light and a back light. I usually use a constant front light as opposed to blinking.
I need to get a
not
front
for any
light
reason.
Still. Yeah.
I think it's worth it. I think it's definitely worth it. I think your huge visibility. And some of those front lights, if you get a good one, they're like so strong, and you're not going to race with it. So like when you're racing, it's totally different. We're going to go strip everything down, and we're going to go like race helmet or whatever it is that we have. We're going to kind of get our setup completely set up for races. So, but for training, who cares? Like, go ahead, look like who cares what put lights all over the thing.
Christmas tree rolling down the road.
Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I mean,
make yourself visible.
That's my opinion, and I get flack for it a couple of times. Where they're like, "Oh man, nice bike! You got a whole bunch of junk on there," and I'm just like, "Whatever, like it's a training ride. It doesn't matter if there's extra
so many
drag.
lights that are super effective now that are so like low profile, and you just don't even notice them, other than the fact that they're shining. Like when you walk by the bike and they're not turned on, you just don't notice them. So I don't
when
know.
I used to ride in the mornings, I used to clip one on my back. I had one on the back of my bike and then one on the back of my back pocket. And having both of those blinking from my buddy told me was actually like
pretty good.
Bro,
and you can get.
He called it annoying, but I was like, good, okay, that's
you
perfect.
can get lights, up higher up on your helmet, which I think are good. You can either just take a light and just attach it to your helmet, which I think are fantastic, or you can get helmets that have built-in lights. So that's a good option.
I just don't ride when it's not good visibility anymore. To be completely honest,
you do a lot of indoor
I look
stuff.
back when I was a little bit older than them, when I was 19. The stuff I did at that time, I wish I could have hit myself over the head with riding out in the middle of nowhere during the winter. It's like now I'm like, if it's even slightly foggy, I'm like, man, we're on the trainer.
Are you two using lights?
My dad just got me the Garmin Varia radar.
Correct. That's awesome. Yeah,
that's a good one.
It shows cars behind you, and there's a little visual that shows how close they are, so you can tell when they're about to pass. So that's really cool. And after Alex's interaction with the car, I'm also wearing a flashing front light.
Okay,
cool.
It's
pretty chunky. I might want to get a slightly smaller one because it's like a full-on flashlight that you can use when it's completely dark out.
That's what I used to have too. They're great. Just who cares if it's chunky? Just roll with it.
Yeah, it works fine. So those are the two lights I use.
Maddy, what about you?
Well, I used to not wear any lights because I didn't like them. But then one of my friends got hit by a car. And so I got a backlight because my parents were like, you have to wear a light now.
Yeah.
And then Alex got hit by a car. And then I got another light. So I got the front light.
So many,
now
you're going to have like 40 lights and a whole bunch of friends that are beat up. So, hopefully mention the Garmin Varia. I'll maybe send your mom a message. But like that Varia radar is really nice because you can see there's like 3 cars behind you, not just one. And so don't slide out. And so there's just little things and it beeps at you. And you think it's something that you could just do with a mirror or you could do with whatever, do without it. You're used to turning your head around, but it's just nice to have that radar. I do not like riding without it. So,
no, I feel naked without it.
Yeah, I'm on my second one of those at this point, and my old one still works. I just want my wife to use it when she commutes to wherever work. So I don't know.
Cool. The second question that I saw here that I thought was kind of cool was fears. It was around fears and says, did you have any fears as you were learning to race in cycling? And I thought that was a neat question. A lot of my fears were really geared around just getting dropped or not being able to perform, or in my case, I was so freaking competitive. I was having fears of not finishing in winning the race or like finishing on the podium. So those were my fears. And then as I kind of got older and raced a little bit more, I'm like, what's going to happen is going to happen. It's really dials back to like 2 things, like how well did I prepare myself for the race? And how well did I play the race out? Did I do stupid stuff that caused me to not being able to perform? So I was really confident in my ability levels, but I have had one crash that kind of, I don't know, that for me now is, and I'm not talking about getting hit by the car, but I'm talking about I got my Cat 2 upgrade. I did my first Cat 1-2 race, and I got crashed out by some people doing some stupid stuff about 100 meters out from the finish line, and that kind of sucked. And now I kind of have an adversity to road racing because of that. Not that I'm not going to go do it, but because my body is becoming a little bit more frail from being hit by a car, that I do have some fears, and I have to work through those things, and I have to remind myself that doesn't happen every single race. And I also have to remind myself that in general, anything that I've had to do with respect to riding a bike and hurting myself, I've always healed up and been fine to boot. The whole car thing has been a little bit more of a long road to recovery, but I have to just remind myself that I always heal up and I will always get better, and it's a part of the sport. It's inevitable that it's going to happen at some point in time. It could be as simple as just a little wash out, slide out, fall down kind of thing, or you get mixed up in a big giant pile, but it's part of the sport. It's going to happen, and once you can kind of like just swallow that and be at peace with it and do all of the things that you can do to protect yourself, it's just not something that you should necessarily worry about. But you shouldn't like just totally like say it's not going to happen and not totally worry about it, but just know that you're going to be okay.
Yeah. And I think fear is good. I mean, I think fear is going to keep you safe.
Yep.
Usually all of us get into like that race situation where it's really tight and we turn off that fear part and we're like, just kill it, and that's a little dangerous because again, probably when you're thinking about that finish line with 100 meters to go, You weren't really thinking of, I mean, I'm sure you were like worried about crashes, but at the same time, you're like, I want to win this race.
That was the furthest thing from my mind.
Yeah.
I was so excited that I was, after 72 miles, I was in it. And like, I can see the finish line, and it's a long, flat, straight sprint. And just everybody, they had just opened up for both lanes, and I was in a good spot, and there was, I don't know, just people up at the very front that started to kind of get into their sprint mode, and they were throwing too much lateral movement out there. They hooked up with each other, went down, and I had nowhere to go, and I hit them going 35 miles an hour, and that was it. That was done.
So I think your competitive nature will dull some of the fear for sure, but at the same time, fear is good. It's good to be scared. I would almost, expect the person in front of you to do something dumb. Like, I'm always thinking like, hey, I still need to be able to see a sliver of the road. I need to be able to visualize this in case this person does something dumb or this car does something dumb. Like, always expect that car to do something that they shouldn't. And fear is good.
This is why you should always try to win road races with solo breakaways.
Yeah. Well, that, or my point was, be on a good team with a good lead-out train that you know that you could trust.
Yeah, that's true.
I was the only one on my team in that race.
Just be the Tony Martin. Just get on the front and try to get away, and if it doesn't work, spit out the back.
Awesome.
I've kind of found my fears have kind of reversed themselves from two different things from when I was just starting out in the sport. When I first started, I wasn't really caring about finishing because I, just started. So there's not really, I didn't have very much pressure for myself yet, which was good. But the pack riding was terrifying. I remember for the Kings Valley Road Race, that was my first big pack, and I didn't eat or drink a drop the entire time and got dropped at the end.
Yeah.
Because I was just, scared the whole time.
Absolutely.
And I didn't go down, but, it's obviously scary your first time in a big pack. But then as I've had more pack situations and group rides throughout the years, that's been less scary to me. And then the competitiveness has been the more fear of like failing, because now you've been doing it for a few years. And if, you have less of an excuse for yourself, you don't have the, I just started this as an excuse for not finishing well.
Sure. How about you, Maddy?
Well, I used to refuse to draft off of anybody. Like, I wouldn't get within 5 feet of anybody that I really, really knew. And then now I'm within 2 inches of complete strangers. You just have to completely forget that you're gonna crash, and you just have to hope that oh gosh, I hope I don't fall over. But that's only in racing. I'll be much more careful when I'm training and stuff. But once you get racing, you just gotta go for it.
Well, your first handful of road races, I remember this pretty fondly. It was just you. You rode away from the field, that's so true. You didn't really have much to be worried about other than
it's the best way to bike race.
Does my hair look good for the finish?
Exactly. Yeah. Maddy had time to probably change jerseys and shore up and then go.
Yeah. So you did really well. And then I do remember out at Portland International Raceway, you were racing in the juniors, and then I encouraged you and your mom to stop racing with the juniors because you were just basically, again, doing a lot of solo riding. And I wanted you to have that experience of riding in a group, and I wanted you to have the experience of riding with some people that might give you a little bit more competition. And I remember you went out and you rode with the 4.5s, and you did really well. You hung with them all the way till the very end. I think they might have got you with some sprint stuff. Then you came back and you did it again, and it was a bigger group this time, but you didn't know at the time that they had actually taken the 4-5 women and they combined it with the 1-2-3 women, so it was a bigger field, and she didn't know that there was all these cat 1-2s. These women are just animals on the bike. They're super strong.
In their 30s.
And they're doing the race, and I remember they were not picking on you, but hey, dial girl or whatever, get up there in the front, do your pulls. And she was taking commands from all of them, and she was doing that stuff, and she hung with them. She did really well until the very end when they just got up and they just sprinted, and she's like, wait a second, what's going on here? How come they did this? How come I can't keep up with them? But what she didn't know was she was racing against some of the best in the area, and she held her own for the most part. And at the time you were 14.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why they kept making me go in the front.
They're picking on you because they probably heard who you were.
Yeah, because they knew that you were 14. They're like, she's not going to ask a question. Just get her up in the front.
Yeah. I've had a similar experience at PIR where I got in a breakaway with a guy who had come from cyclocross, and he was super strong. And he won the state champs, but he was in the 4.5s because he hasn't been racing there any long. And I got in a breakaway with him in a 4.5 race, and it was just us. And then as we were coming to the finish line, he was like, take your last pull. Come on. Encouraging me to go on, and I didn't. So
good.
There you go.
Did you get him? Did you get him?
I did not.
Do you remember who it was?
No.
Was that the guy? It may have been the guy who was at Silverton last year too.
I think so.
Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. He outsprinted Nate and Mike too, so you're pretty.
Yeah, and I think that might have been my second race too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, very cool. Anything else Anything else you guys want to touch on this whole topic? Family stuff, junior stuff, questions in general? No? All right, let's put that to bed. Let's jump into one last thing. So this is a spot where you get a chance, if you've listened to the podcast before, you know this, that you get to just talk about anything. It's your little one last thing. I'll let you guys think of those while we run around the table. We'll start with Mr. Matt over here.
And I always say the same thing.
Oh, yeah,
so
we never really remember, so
no,
go. Yeah.
I always say the same thing, and it's go watch the video, go watch the Iron Man satire video. I'll try and post something else new this week, maybe a watch review, but the Iron Man video is like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. It's pretty short, so and it's funny. Hopefully you will laugh. And if you don't laugh and you're angry, write me a long letter.
Then come on.
Mail it to Matt at Dialed, the Dialed Endurance Lab.
Send an email to Iron Man about how angry you are about Matt's video.
Oh, no. Don't do that.
I'm curious to see how that pans out. Matt's over here like taking on Trek and taking on Iron Man. Who's next? Who's going to fall next?
Yeah,
Matt?
Yeah, seriously.
Dialed Endurance Lab is coming up next. Yeah. No, I'm supposed to talk to Trek again at some point about their, stims and how you're not supposed to put weight on them. So
Yep.
we'll see how that goes.
Mr. Price, one last thing.
I'm going to be up in Bellingham for a basically solo race on Sunday.
This is that hilly loop. It's
Yeah.
like 56 miles or something.
There's a buddy of mine up there who I've trained with when I go up to Bellingham, and we're just going to do basically, there's like a small little Bellingham triathlon club that's putting on
cool.
like a swim by yourself, and then you bike up this mountain, and then you do this trail run in the middle of nowhere up a mountain.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if it's like much of a trail from what David's telling me. It's like, I think we may just be running in the woods during the run. Like, I'm not sure if this is that much marked of a trail. He was like, oh, it's going to get really rocky at some points. It's like, that does not sound like a trail to me.
The problem for you is there's, you can't go off the front because you have no idea where you're going.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's just going to be me and David trying to find the route. Because it's just like basically a route where like, go and try and find it.
Are you going to see Derek while you're up there?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Derek's been riding a lot of mountain bikes lately,
mountain
which
bike
is
stuff.
very cool.
Tell
He's a
everyone I
mountain
said
biker.
hello.
I will.
Get after it this weekend.
Yep.
Cool. Nels, you got one last thing you'd like to share with us?
Okay. Yes, I do.
You can make it 2 if you need to as well.
I think I just got one. Maddy and I are going to be doing a relay next week. Ooh.
Relay. It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
Keep going.
We're going to be doing a relay next weekend. I'm going to be doing a 12-mile bike, I guess, or 20K.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
so
cool.
I might have to ask for the clip-on aero bars again, Jake.
Sure.
That I bought for last year.
Yep.
Might make me a little bit faster. Yep, that's it for me.
And then Maddie's doing the swim and the run, right?
Yes, I
There you
am.
go.
What? So is this part of a race kind of thing? Like
It's a virtual race, yeah.
Except for Hag.
Is it Hag Lake?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Hag
Gotcha.
Lake. Yeah.
Where are you guys going to do this stuff?
Ooh, I haven't decided.
I was thinking maybe the Jack Frost course.
Yeah,
That would
since
be
it's
great.
just a
That'll be your
20K loop
fastest
that I've
12.
done.
The only problem is the swimming.
Yeah.
Swim downstream.
Wait,
It's
Swim
fine.
downstream at Frenchman's. Get your fastest swim time, Maddie.
Yeah,
Can
I
you,
love
like-
swimming there.
Yeah.
Do you have to do them all three in a row, or can you like stop and drive somewhere else?
I have no
The
idea.
swim and the bike have to be close, and then the bike and the run can be far apart, I think.
This is the great thing with virtual is you don't have to tell anybody. You can just do it.
Yeah. and honestly, I can tell you right now, the Y Racing Company, they're going to be like, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They're great people. They're
Yeah.
just
I don't think
happy
Chris
to-
is going to get too mad at you there.
No.
Maddie, one last thing?
I would just like to say for Alex that we have to do it again, and he has to be able to come because he was very, very upset this morning that he was not allowed to come.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, on the podcast?
Yes, he
Okay.
really, really wanted to come.
He did. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was very angry that he was not allowed to.
Well, maybe we can do another special episode where it's just the juniors. We can kind of let you guys come in here and do something. I've got some ideas, so we'll talk. We'll figure something out and
They're way more interesting than
let
we
you
are.
guys host your own show.
Just
That
get the
might be
old
kind of
guys off
fun.
this show. Yeah.
There is a day that our wives and significant others are going to come in here and take this over.
Yeah.
Hopefully sooner than later. We've kind of talked about this for a while. My wife is 100% behind it. I think Cassie's into it.
Yeah.
I know Brandy's into it. Is
My
Kristen?
wife doesn't care.
She doesn't care?
She's like, no, I don't. She's just not into cycling stuff very much.
It doesn't have to be about that, though. It could be about just being married to the world famous Matt Legrand.
Yeah, that's exactly what she wants to talk about.
I feel like that's the reason she doesn't want to come on.
Probably the real
I
reason.
don't think it has anything to do with cycling.
She's like, oh, well, I'll talk about Matt Legrand, just not this one. The one on YouTube, the guy that sings with
Maybe
his
we
shirt
get him
off.
on
one,
yeah.
yes.
Get him on here as well. So cool. My one last thing, like usual, is going to be 2. So
You break the rules all the time.
I know. I'm sorry. First and foremost, wanted to congratulate my wife. She did her first marathon.
I can't believe we
yesterday.
haven't said that. I can't believe we haven't talked about this yet.
She went out and she ran 26.2 yesterday with her friend Amy Miller, and they.
I thought it was on Saturday.
Did I say no? It was yesterday.
It was
Oh, was it?
yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah, they were supposed to be doing a training run, and it was supposed to only be 20 miles.
22, yeah.
Was it 22? I think it was 20. It was 20 or 22. It was one of the two. And they were at 16 miles, and they're like, you know what? Let's just get this over with.
Yeah, because wasn't it like 3-4 more weeks before she was supposed to do it?
Something like that. Yeah.
It's so cool.
And she's getting sick and tired of all these trainings. She just, it's kind of been looming on her mind, and she just wanted to be done with it, So
I thought that was so cool. It's like, let's just get this done.
Yeah, and by chance, there was a bunch of her friends that were out there riding and running and doing some other stuff out there near Frenchman's Bar, and they found out, and they quickly threw together some finisher medals for them, and it was really kind of neat how they put those together, and they made a little finishing
I can't believe she had friends make her medals.
You're a champ, Rebecca.
And I'm told that Sherry McMillan was out there.
Oh, was she?
By chance, saw them and said, what's going on? Like, oh, they're finishing their first
solo marathon.
And so supposedly she live streamed it or something like that.
Oh, did she? That sounds about right.
It was just kind of funny how all the worlds came together on that. But I just wanted to congratulate her on that.
That's a pretty cool experience. I mean, she's lucky that she had all of that come together so nicely because it's like, hey, let's just finish this marathon. No one was expecting her to do it. And then all of a sudden it's like, we have friends that are making medals. We've got live streaming. I mean, how cool is that?
It just all worked out really neatly. So, and then the other one last thing is going to be just, hey, to everybody doing the Dialed 100, awesome, good on you. I love it, and it's really kind of fun to see everybody doing it and finding the time to make it happen. So I'm hoping that everybody can finish this because it's going to be quite the accomplishment for a lot of people. My question to you guys is real quick: should there be a dialed 75 and a dialed 25 and even a dialed 50 as well? So we could do like a 50, 75.
Like you get 50 rides in the next
for
100
the people,
days.
Yeah, for the people that didn't do the 100, maybe that was just too big of an ask for them. But maybe if we started like one at the 75 mark, the 50 mile mark, or 50 ride mark, and then 25.
Oh, like you wait until. I mean, I was thinking like 50 rides in 100 days. So you have to. That'd be interesting.
That could be an option too. But I kind of like doing this on the daily kind of thing. So I don't know. We'll think about it. But anyway, just everybody's doing it. Good job. Good on you. Go get your ride in today, tomorrow, and the next day. Just keep going until Thanksgiving.
Just keep doing it.
Just keep doing it. Just do it, right?
I don't know.
Can we say that?
Yep. Hold on.
Just
it says run on. I don't know. I thought it's a Nike stuff.
All right. Thank you to both Maddy and Nels for joining us today. Lance. Yeah, thank you. Lance, we hope you have a safe trip back here to the Pacific Northwest. Evan, do you have any plans for Dialed Endurance Lab stuff? Anything cool going on in the lab?
There's always stuff going on, right? I'm sorry, I'm answering
patients
here and getting ready for multiple patients this evening. That's what's going on.
Gotcha. So go check out the Dialed Endurance Lab if you want to learn more about that. Matt, thank you for your time. Good luck battling Ironman and Trek.
Oh, yeah. I'm battling the corporates.
And to everybody else, thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week. Bye for now.